You're listening to Never Heard of It, a Night Shift Radio production. No,
Didn't
that was
seem like it was. I
yeah,
see a good spike. Just didn't sound loud enough.
like Gremlins spike. You see,
Like nothing in the waveform.
that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. You have a better intro, I'm sure.
Just so much for starting early, right?
I know. Well, let's start 30 minutes early. It is now 5 minutes past our regular start time. But to you listeners at home, you're like, time is irrelevant. I listen to you whenever the fuck I feel like, which is still fine. That's fine. Do that.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what's great about podcasts. You listen at your leisure and not ours. Womp womp. But that being said, it is now the second episode in November as we progress on with my birthday month, and this choice is actually was the third choice of a series of
Seriously.
movies. So
This
we had
was an adventure.
It was quite the adventure in 20 minutes. So originally we had decided I picked out this movie called Freaks of Nature. And then we were going to watch it on 2BTV, and then 2BTV pulled Freaks of Nature off. And that was weird. So we were like, okay, well, let's watch Freaks of Nature, which is another movie that came out actually this year called Freaks of Nature. And we both got about maybe 10 minutes into that movie and we're like, that's a big fat no. This movie is bad and uncomfortable and awkward. And so we bailed on that movie.
Yeah.
and landed with the film that we were actually going to talk about today called Dance of the Dead, which it was a good choice. It's a fun movie. It wasn't great, but it was fun.
So when I was updating the nohate.com, our website where you can find all of the our upcoming episodes, links to trailers and whatnot, as we talk about regularly here on the show, it was like 2 days ago, and Freaks of Nature was there. It was I grabbed a link to it. I put it on the site. Everything was great.
Yeah.
Today I went to search for it, and all that came up was the other like weird one. So I found the link because I'm like, I know I'm not crazy. I know I had a link to this, and it was like content not available. I was like, since when, motherfuckers?
Well, today's November 1st. It obviously probably went out on October 31st.
It was only there for like a week though.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it come up as like a suggestion like a couple episodes ago when I went to watch the movie, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was searching, this movie, Dance of the Dead, did actually come up as a suggestion, and I saw that and I thought, well, that looks clever.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, this other Freaks of Nature, this looks like it could be pretty dope. And I was like, yeah, you're right, it does. Like the description of it, something about like three kids discovering they have supernatural abilities and they got to deal with that. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, well, this sounds
Which is
kind of cool.
it's an interesting premise.
And from what I could tell in the first 20 minutes or so, it looked like it was basically like an all black cast, which was really cool.
Yeah.
But just whew.
I mean, look, like, man, make your art, but when your film starts off with like gang rape, we're gonna struggle getting through that. It was pretty rough. And then like a weird dream sequence, and then it was like, oh, and and unfortunately the actors were pretty terrible. So that
and like everything, like the cinematography had just way too much of that like super slow motion for like dramatic effect sort of thing, and it was really disconcerting, and like the audio was mixed just terribly, so like I had to like crank the volume up, and like still couldn't hear what they were saying. It was just loud. This is, even if this was the best movie, it still was going to be terrible.
It was going to be a little bit of a struggle bus. We'll say that.
I turned to Ellen and I was like, what is, like, how bad does a movie have to be for us to not get through it?
Right, for us to be like, You know,
Yeah, better not.
I'm gonna pass. But anyways, nonetheless, we have landed on Dance of the Dead. And that being said, hello and welcome to the Never Heard of It podcast. I'm your host, Michael Fite.
And I'm Caleb. I've already done the of the
Of
koi.
the koi,
It's fine.
yeah.
It's
It's whatever. But welcome to another episode, episode number 2 of 5 for November. And we're coming in hot with Dance of the Dead, our third place choice for the film for today. And I'm not gonna lie. So this movie was made in 2008, and weirdly has a pretty substantial ties to the Marvel universe,
yeah,
actor wise.
yeah.
Because there was a couple times, like when they showed the one character, I was like, "Yo,
Yep,
I know. Wait a minute, I know you."
yep.
Which is actually funny because this ties into the episode of Superpod Hero Cast. They did X-Men First Class, like it would be 2 weeks ago now. But this movie has Lucas Till in it, who played Havoc in the reboot X-Men series. I mean, it's kind of a reboot.
Yeah,
The First Class, we call it
the
the First
first
Class
class
series.
series. Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, let me see if I can find his
is Blair
name.
Redford.
Blair Redford, yes, who plays Nash Rambler, which like
Fucking phenomenal.
really like that's a name wasted on this character because that's a
Totally.
fantastic you remember the episode of Futurama where Bender becomes a folk singer? Like
Yes,
Nash Rambler is like it's like
it's
that kind of character, like coming
man,
for to
it's
shoot you down, Lord, Lord.
big doom. Oh God, it's so
But
good.
Blair Redford was John Proudstar, otherwise known as Thunderbird in The Gifted.
And The Gifted, which was a really good series that one I feel like got lost on FX. I feel like The Gifted, Cloak and
Legion,
Dagger,
Cloak and Dagger was really
and
good. I enjoyed
all
that.
of those should have just been Hulu exclusives. Like they should have just pushed it to that. I think they would have done a much better job. But The Gifted was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. It was really great. Like it had very much, it actually was a better New Mutants than New Mutants.
Have you seen
um
New Mutants?
no,
I
and I'm
really
still gonna
want
make
to.
that claim.
I keep fucking forgetting that it's even out because it took so goddamn long.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
was like
yeah,
chomping at the bit for that movie for
everyone
so
was.
long. And then like it's out and I'm like, shit, that came out like 4 months ago.
It definitely came out in like August. Yeah, definitely. It has been some time since that movie came out. I even tweeted about the other day. I was like, remember, everybody talked about New Mutants for a fucking year. For a
Yeah.
year, there were people talking about it. There was articles being written on it. Everyone's like, will it ever come out? I don't know, man. This is crazy. And then it finally did, and everyone was like, meh. Yeah. And then that was it. Like, in all honesty, though, it did get a bunch of shitty reviews, and I think that's why it kind of sank, is that a lot of people were like, we waited fucking 2 years for this bullshit. This is terrible.
But also it came out in the middle of a goddamn pandemic.
It did. So I definitely feel like, so here's my issue. I definitely feel like that has something to do with it. But I think the other part is that I think the audience, now that they know that like X-Men and mutants are going to be part of the MCU, this film just feels out of place, because at some point you know that they're going to redo a bunch of it, because you know that it's no longer canon to the MCU universe. And maybe, yes, I did say the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can fuck off.
You son of a bitch.
You son of a
Get out of here.
son
Podcast over.
Click. But you know what I mean? So like I feel like a lot of people were like, oh well, it doesn't matter, like it's just gonna get redone anyways, or half these characters are gonna get recast, and I feel like that's kind of where it fell into that. And I feel like DCU, every film is like that. Like every time they release a film, there's already news that like somebody's been recast, or they're just fucking they were like, oh hey, we just released Justice League. By the way, Ben Affleck said he's no longer going to be Batman anymore, and now it's Robert Pattinson. But then recently we just learned the news that Robert Pattinson is now Batman, but now Ben Affleck is back as fucking Batman in the series on HBO Max. So nobody in the DCU knows what's going on.
It
There's no
really
continuity. It's just they're gonna make a bunch of movies about DC comics, and you just fucking watch them. Period. Don't expect them to link.
it really disappoints me. Like I
It's
I
sad.
wanted so much more out of DC than
I
they gave us.
I mean, look, I'm not a DC, like DC is not my number one comic choice. Like if someone was like you have to choose between Marvel and DC, I'm going to be like Marvel, hands down. Not saying that DC is bad, it's just that's where my preference lies in terms of storytelling and characters. And if your preference is DC, that's fine. That's cool. I'm fine with that. But they failed the cinematic universe so bad. Like they had it built well before Marvel ever decided to do it. Not like cinematically, but like DC Comics did team ups better than Marvel ever did because Marvel's universe was so complicated and convoluted at times, and timelines were all fucked up. But DC, everything was very consistent. Everything is very solid. Like you had Justice League, you had like, and you could reset everything with Flashpoint. And I get that, like Scarlet Witch could reset everything with House of M. Great run of series, by the way. Definitely check it out. Either the first or the second one. But like it was just fucking like they literally just had to pick up a comic book and be like, okay, here's your script. Now here's your storyboard. Here's your script. Just fucking make this series. Here, it's done. Don't rewrite it. Don't try to be complicated. Don't do anything wacky. Literally just do this and you'll be set. And in all fairness, X-Men, even the actual first X-Men series, they should have done this too. They should have just looked at the 1993 animated series and been like, cool, just do that, and you would have been fucking golden. And they messed that up. However, they did give us Wolverine. But we're not here to talk about that. If you want to listen to bullshit like that, you go over and listen to the Superpod Hero Cast, available. I don't know. Go to nightshiftradio.com, listen to the Superpod Hero Cast. Let's talk about Dance of the Dead. So the thing that I like about Dance of the Dead is the fact that it's basically Dance Dance, the Fall Out Boy music video, but with zombies. That's literally the plot of this film, and there's punk rock in it.
I
I'm not wrong.
First of all,
First of
now
all,
you've gotten me. First of all, rude. Now you've got me wishing the soundtrack were significantly better.
yes.
Second, I want you to dive into that theory more. I want a longer exposition of that. But finally, I have to say it or I'm gonna scream. It was it was, it was a Promby movie.
You fucking did. Oh God, it's a. You shout that from the mountaintops. Hell yeah.
I was so mad that nobody made the joke.
Nobody made the
Nobody in the whole movie, nobody makes the joke. It's right
You're like,
there.
uh,
Oh
uh.
my god, it's prom. There are zombies. There are prombies. I'm probably being really loud right now. I have a different headset on than usual.
It's fine. It's great. So the film starts off. We learn our main characters. So more specifically, Jimmy Dunn, who is our main character, who is played by Jared Kusnitz. Who Jared's been in a few things, which coincidentally he did this in 2008 and then did Prom in 2011, a movie called Prom, which is kind of funny. Which is about a group of teenagers get ready for their high school prom. Very straightforward. But he's been in a few things. He was in the show Castle. He was in the show Underemployed. He was in that for a while, a few years after this. Most recently, he was in the movie Flying Cars. Looks like a little indie film. And then the other one is American Nightmares, which stars Danny Trejo. And Nichelle Nichols, which is cool. Nichelle Nichols, Danny Trejo, yeah. And then he was in a couple other things. He had a couple scenes in Ballers. But as we mentioned, we have the two other ones. We had Lucas Till and Blair Redford, who were in that. And then we also meet Lindsay. Lindsay is Jimmy Dunn's girlfriend. She is the head cheerleader and vice president of student council. And Lindsay is actually Rita's mom in Doom Patrol. So there's our DC connection.
Nice.
Yep, she plays Lindsay's mom in that. She was also in the show The Resident. And she was in Christmas Everlasting.
Oh.
Yeah, a hotshot lawyer returns to her childhood home following a death in the family, and it's Christmas, and she falls in love, and everything is solved by that man's penis.
So, first of all, how dare you? Second, like I'm listening to you say, oh, she's in Doom Patrol. She's Rita's mom. Like, she's not old enough to be someone's mom. I keep forgetting that this was released in 2008,
Right.
and very obviously filmed earlier as well.
Yeah.
So while she was slightly too old to be the vice principal or the vice president of the student council of a high school when this movie was released, she would be an appropriate age now to play someone's mother.
Right, because that was
Uh,
like 12 years ago.
yeah, that was
12
a
years
while ago.
previously,
That
I
was
should
a
say.
fucking lifetime ago.
Right.
Um, Now, second, the other thing that throws me about the time placement of this movie was when characters repeatedly pull out an original Black Moto Razor.
Yeah. It
There's
was it was wild. Everyone flipped out their little flip phones. So it had to have
flip it out.
been what, 2006 then maybe they filmed this?
I
Because it
mean,
has to be pre-iPhone because not a
yeah,
single person had a touchscreen phone, not necessarily an iPhone, but like the very first Google Android came out just before the Google iPhone or the Apple iPhone.
the Google iPhone.
The Google iPhone. I mean, it was almost a thing. So like somebody would have had something like there was no sidekicks, there was no like Blackberries. So I'm guessing this was probably shot in 2006.
That would
I
make
don't.
sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely I still had my Razor in my possession long after getting my
I never had a
iPhone in
Razor.
2007. Oh my god, they were such a baller phone. So it
Yeah.
was released in March of 2008.
Right.
So presumably had to have been filming at least in 2007. And
Oh yeah.
given the likely budget of this movie, which I'm not finding offhand, but presuming it's as low as it looks,
Oh yeah.
no one's going out and buying iPhones just for this movie when they were like
The five, six
super
hundred
fucking
dollars.
expensive.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
you couldn't just. There was no subsidizing or anything like that
yeah,
back then. It was a $500 phone,
which is
right off
funny
the bat.
because they're like 2 and 3 times that now, depending on what phones you get, and like
Yeah.
we barely bat an eye about that. But at the time, people were just losing their minds at how
500.
expensive it
I
was.
mean, the Razor was that expensive too. The Razor was a $500 phone as well. I
Hmm.
remember a lot of people being like, "Why the fuck am I paying $500 for a flip phone?" And it was like, "But motherfucker, it can play MP3s and it has a camera. You need to calm the fuck down. This is the best phone that's ever been invented."
I mean,
I
look at
wanted
how
one.
thin it is.
Oh,
I want one of the new
dude,
ones.
I wanted one. So my girlfriend at the time had a Moto Razor. She had the pink Moto Razor, and this was when we met. This is like 2006. So she had a
Mhm.
pink Moto Razor. She lost it in the snow. So she like got out of her car. It fell out of her whatever pocket,
Yeah,
hand, purse, fell into the snow. The
that
next
happens.
day, she came back, found it, picked it up out of the snow, brushed it off, opened it up, was working perfectly. Full
Those were
charge,
fucking great
everything.
phones.
Yeah,
Those were
dude.
great phones.
It was amazing. Shit, if my phone even looks at snow, it's like, well, I ain't going outside. Fuck. Oh, wait, that's my dog. My dog looks at snow.
So
My phone
funny
is
that
not
you
a
say.
sentient being.
I passed by a car today, and the driver was sitting doing something on her phone, and I could tell, like intellectually, my brain knew that she was doing something on a mobile phone.
Mhm.
Uh, but the quality of the lighting and like the shadow being cast on her and the way she was holding her hand and everything kind of made it look like the outline of like she was holding a small dog, kind of like Diva, and was just poking at it. And I was
Just
just thinking
poking at
about
a
like
small dog.
how cute, just poke, 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 poke,
I do
poke.
that to my
I
dog.
mean, that's what I would do
Right.
if I had, if Penelope was still that size, because she
Yeah.
was basically that size. She was, I mean,
I mean, she's still pretty small. Right.
when I got her, she was basically cell phone sized.
I mean, still is for some phones. Um, so
she's a she's more like a phablet now.
yes, she is. So we meet Jimmy Dunn, and we learn that Jimmy Dunn is kind of like the, I don't know. He's not like a popular kid, but he's not like one of the burnout, mischievous kids. But he's kind of the class clown, but he's kind of a smart ass. We see him in class with Dollar Store Dwight Schrute, who of course gives him shit, and he's kind of a dick to him, and he sends him off to detention.
Oh my
And
god, worst fucking teacher ever.
oh, he was terrible. Like called him dumb. Like, I mean, he just went off on this kid. It was very, very inappropriate for a teacher. I would have reported him.
He was kind of handsy with the one cheerleader, Gwen, when she
Yep.
didn't want to she didn't want to cut the frog up. He like grabbed her hand and like started stabbing at the frog with it, and then uh uh, Jimmy calls him out for being a dick because he
Yep.
is.
Because he is
And
being a
it's
dick. He's being wildly inappropriate.
what did you say to me?
I'm
Here,
trying to
class,
find
we have a specimen of a loser.
a
He's
loser.
he kind of goes on like a very very Trumpian rant. Here we have a bigly loser, vacant expression, sleepy eyes. Nobody likes him.
I'm trying to find who the person was that played Kyle, because we meet Kyle next. I can't find him on here. Anyway, so one thing I will say about this film though is that it did a really good job of casting kids. Um, but there were a lot of people like Kyle, who
Justin Wellborn.
Justin Wellborn. Okay, so there were a lot of people like Kyle who were like, dude, you are at least 42. Like
Oh,
who
easily.
like, and I get that that was the joke, like he was supposed to be older, like he failed and stuff like that. But he looked older than some of the teachers. Like he looked older than the principal,
Uh huh. Oh
which
yeah, for
was
sure.
crazy, like crazy to me. I mean, I get it; it's tough. Trust me, we make high school movies for a living. It's hard to cast people, especially in an R-rated film. It's hard to cast teenagers because there's that sweet spot of like 18 to 21 where they can actually do the movie that you're doing, and they still look high school. And then after a while it's like, well, no, you kind of look like a dude now, so you're you can't do it. um
Sooner or later, you end up with me.
so you're right, for me. But they did pretty good. Like Jimmy Dunn is a really great example, the main character. He very much looks like a kid throughout this film. All the members of the band, they looked like kids. Kyle was an exception. There was like one or two other that I was like, you're a little old to be like, do you work at the school or are you a student?
Well, and actually, Jared Kuznitz's casting is pretty great because assuming that they filmed this and we'll give him 2007, he would have been 19. So
Oh, right. Perfect. Yeah.
so that would have made sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was about right. So good job on them. So we meet Jared. We meet a couple other characters. Like we meet the sci-fi club kids, who was like Jules, Steven, and I think George is the other one. I don't know. Irrelevant. Uh, Jules and
Steven's kind of the like he
like the
is set up
lead.
to be like the best friend ish for Jimmy, but they don't really hang out that much. It's
It's
weird.
like
Like
one instance where they interact and then they don't interact the rest of the film.
it's like they were setting him out to be like close buddies, and then they just both have their own separate storylines. So
Yeah.
he's kind of like adjacent to the sci-fi club, but like is like not is usually like trying to distance himself from association with them.
Right, because he doesn't want, because he's interested in the cheerleader Gwen. And
Hmm.
Gwen there's quite the love triangle here. Gwen, however, is very interested in Nash Rambler.
Nash Rambler, Lord,
Nash,
Lord.
Ba-dum-bum-bum. So Nash Rambler has Gwen's eye, and Nash, of course, couldn't give two shits about prom. Fuck prom, man, I'm too cool. We're gonna get stoned and just play our music, which is like they had this like really great setup where they were like auditioning to play at prom, and it was like perfect Back to the Future, like set up. Like they didn't even like they could have mined the shots of it, where they like pan across the audience. Like they could have done it really well. Um Missed opportunity, man. You could have done the
Yeah,
Back to the
yeah.
Future Marty McFly thing. Um It was a shame. It was a shame. But anyways, nonetheless. But yeah, so
Nonetheless.
nobody was interested in their brand of punk rock. And you know, they were booed off the stage and up next. So we've kind of met our cast of characters, but the one thing that's really great is the very beginning of this movie sets the scene off really well. So we see a gravedigger, a person who is, you know, taking care of the local cemetery. You know, he's walking around cleaning up the headstones, putting the flowers up and everything. And he goes to put the flowers up on one and he sets it down, the like vase onto the ground in front of the tombstone, and it keeps falling over. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at this scene. It's playing in my
Oh,
head.
it's great. Yeah. Anyway, so he sets the flower pot down and it falls over, and he, you know, kind of looks at it for a second, then he tips it back up, sets it again, and then it falls over. And so he puts his ear down to the ground. And of course, I mean, this is the setup, right? This is, you know, we know it's a zombie movie. We know that shit's about to go down, but there's a twist to this, and I loved it.
What's
So
twist?
he what a twist. So he puts his head down and he's listening, and then a hand, you know, juts out of the ground, grabs him by the throat. He's, oh shit, what the fuck? And then he grabs the like hedge clippers and he cuts the hand off, and, you know, backs up and he's like, and then the hand gets up and Thing style starts walking, and he snags it and he throws it into his wheelbarrow. But we see that in the wheelbarrow barrow is a bunch of other moving body parts. There's a head, there's other more hands, legs, and they're all roaming around. So we know that this gravekeeper knows that zombies are afoot, and a hand and a head and
and a head. Yeah, yeah. I see what you did there.
cool. I'm glad you did. I appreciate that.
Yeah, this movie definitely goes with a bunch of the kind of goofier side of zombie tropes. The ones that like part of me thinks like, "Nah, you shouldn't do that. It doesn't make any sense." And then the rest of me realizes like, dude, it's a fucking zombie movie. Just
It's a
let them have
fucking
their
zombie.
fun.
Yeah, just let them. Yeah, like
Like
let them do their
the
stupid shit. It's fine.
the walking hands and like there's a time when like a guy gets like his top half ripped off and the legs go just running down. They were like,
I actually thought that was funny.
it was funny. I hated it, but it was funny.
Hated it.
Hated it.
Three snaps around the world. Men on film. Men on film. That's Men on Film. Great sketch in living color. Fantastic. Um, so that was that's the very beginning of the movie. And after he does that, the camera pans up from the cemetery and we see that looming over the cemetery is a giant nuclear, factory building. You know, we've got 3 or 4 silos. Is there a specific word for those things? What are those called? Are those just the reactors?
Those are the cooling towers of a nuclear power station.
Yeah, and there was like 4 of them, right? 3 or 4 of them
Yeah,
that were just looming.
which
So yeah,
was like way too many.
it was way too many. I mean,
This
that's
wasn't like again, I'm nitpicking the things that are wrong with a zombie movie. I'm
right.
sorry, with a promby movie.
Well, the Promby movie. I'm sorry. Are those silos up to code? I feel like.
I don't like that. Like the smoke wouldn't
Feel
be.
like.
It's see, it wouldn't be that green color. It's not actually smoke. It's water vapor. Uh, it's they use the water to cool the uranium rods so that don't cause the core method. Like it's a whole thing.
You can cool this uranium rod. Oh, shit. I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever. So actually, it's really, someone should take a look at it. It's glowing green. So sorry guys. I'm sorry. I had a Roy Rogers before this, so so many jokes. Anyways, so we've got the setup for our film. We know that nuclear fueled zombies are a thing. We know that we've got our students, and we know that prom is incoming. So we've set the stage for what is going to be our prom be. As Caleb so aptly coined. So before we head off to this, we want to one say hi, thanks. If you have not subscribed to this podcast, please do so. It's super helpful. Not only will you get notifications of when new episodes will air, which is every Wednesday and Sunday, But you will help us out, because the more subscribers, the more, all the podcast platforms are like, yo, people actually listen to this bullshit. We should, bump it up on the fucking charts or whatever.
Bump
And
it up,
if
bump it
bump it, bump it, bump it. And
up.
if you are on Apple Podcasts, and if you feel so inclined, please leave a rating and review. It's awesome. It's super easy. You can just be like, "Hey, 5 stars, cool podcast, dudes," and that's it. Or even be like, "Hey, specifically, fuck you." 5 stars. I would be fine with that too. Actually, I would be more fine with that than anything else.
Specifically, fuck you.
Specifically, fuck you, 5 stars. I would be fine with that. But definitely do that. It would be cool. Um, and then, also, if you're so inclined, buy some merch. Caleb, how would they do that?
Oh, you mean like this merch?
Like this merch. Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
I love we're both wearing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find our Night Shift Radio merch store over at nsrad.io/merch. I get it because it's like radio, like Night Shift Radio.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
nsrad.io, yeah. Of course, you mentioned earlier that if they were interested in finding the Superpod HeroCast or any of the other shows on the network, they could go to nightshiftradio.com. You'll also find a link to the merch store over there.
Wow, and there's a lot of cool things on our website. So we have you could read the print edition of the Storyteller series, which has exclusive short stories. We have a blog, but that's also where you can get links to all of our shows, like this one, the Storyteller series, Second Edition 1, Super Pod Hero Cast, Left of the Dial, Shift Alt Q. Wait a minute.
What?
We'll talk about that one later. So we're going to go to a commercial break. We will be right back.
You're listening to a Night Shift Radio production. Night Shift Radio is a modern media company bringing you shows that entertain, inform, and most importantly, provide an escape. Never Heard of It dives into the world of bad, obscure, and sometimes just weird movies. Follow along with the crew of Set Condition 1 as they experience the 2004 sci-fi hit Battlestar Galactica, one episode at a time. Each week on Left of the Dial, we explore a new record or revisit an old favorite. We'll bring in guests to talk about their own music and the state of the industry. The Superpod HeroCast, guys with beers talking about movies with capes. They draw a random comic-inspired movie from Thor's helmet and offer thorough, insightful, and humorous commentary. And once a month, tune into the Storyteller series and get lost in the magic of a good old-fashioned radio drama. Learn more about these fine shows at nightshiftradio.com and subscribe on your favorite platform.
Hello and welcome back.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, we're back. I know, we were gone for like a minute and then we were back.
I'm just taking a moment to enjoy this nice, refreshing blackberry, bubbly, sparkling water.
Ooh, wonderful.
I'm not gonna lie, I drink this brand exclusively because they have Michael Bublé in the commercials.
Michael Bublé. It's like Michael Bublé. It's bubbly, not Bublé.
It's Bublé. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Fantastic. All right, so we have our recipe for zombies, and everything's get set. So we have, at first I thought this was going to be, and actually, so my girlfriend watched a little bit with me, and then after a while she was like, "Fuck this, I'm going to go put wallpaper up."
Smart.
It was smart. It was a very good choice on her part. And at first she saw that like Jimmy Dunn got sentenced to detention. Kyle got sentenced to detention. And she was like, yo, is this Breakfast Club, but with zombies? And I'm like, fuck, that would have been so good.
Ah!
It would have been so much better. Like that's a fucking brilliant idea.
Y'all got to make that.
You're going to make Breakfast Club, but zombies.
It's Breakfast Club, but it's zombies.
Get it? Because the zombies are going to have them for breakfast.
Hey!
I just a fucking dude. All right. So, but that was not the case. It still was prom. And now, so we have this really stupid plot line where the main character Jimmy and his girlfriend Lindsay, they like break up for prom because she says, they're like sitting there and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to take you to prom." And she's like, "Actually, no." And I do understand why, is because, he's the class clown. He doesn't do great in school. He always is kind of getting in trouble. And she was like, "It's not funny anymore. Like, we're almost seniors. Like, you really need to like get your shit together."
And like he like she's trying to have this conversation with him and he's just cracking jokes the whole time, but like they're very forced and like not even like kind of funny. Like
Yeah.
she at one point like refers to herself like she's asking like, "Did you at least get me a corsage?" He's like, "No, I got you the frog thing I did earlier with the dead frog." She's like, "Well, I don't enjoy that, and I'm a woman and I would like the corsage or whatever." It's kind of somewhat flawed logic, but like it's fine. And he's like, "You called yourself a woman?" Like, dude, like
Like, take a fucking hint, man. Come on. Like, read the room.
exactly.
But it was really what was really weird about that scene too is outside of the fact that he was, poorly acting, is that she was like, ha ha ha, no, it's funny. I don't want you to do a corsage. And she's like, ha. But no, seriously, we're breaking up and I'm going to prom with someone else. And it was like, wait, whoa, what the fuck? Like I thought they were being playful. She was like, haha, no, 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 really. No, I'm not actually doing that. Like, we're
Yeah,
done. Goodbye. Will you
like
please leave? And he
day
was
of,
like,
like
what? Wait,
hours
what?
before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was like, okay. So she ends up going to prom with Mitch, who is the president of the student council. And of course, Mitch, as they're on their way to prom, Mitch, pulls off at the bluff and was like, "Hey, let's have a beer to unwind, young lady, and
What a dick.
let's do this, thing." And then, of course, he tries to prom rape her and gets his comeuppance. He gets eaten by zombies, which
Oh,
I don't think that's our first instance of zombies though. Is
I
that
mean,
the
we have.
first? Well, I guess it's happening at the same time. The Sci-Fi Club.
Yeah. Well, we had the very very beginning. Obviously, we talked about the graveyard scene. That was the introduction, and yeah, this is really the first. The Sci-Fi Club is wandering around the graveyard at the same time. They've got like some paranormal research equipment, and they come across a zombie who eats one of them.
Yep.
Rod, I believe his name was. Pour one out for Rod. Like he didn't even want to go in the mausoleum
He
where
was like, I
they
don't want to do
found
this.
the empty casket. He was playing it safe and got fucked anyway. And you know
Honestly,
what?
I thought that scene was going to go a lot different. So it was kind of cool. So they're like, you see it from the point of view of a camcorder, and they're in the mausoleum part, and they open up the coffin, and the coffin's empty. Like the coffin had fallen out of the mausoleum thing, and they open it up, and it's like it's empty. And then they turn back to show Rod at the door, and there's a zombie behind him. Now, mind you, just before this scene, they had been threatened by the gravekeeper, like, "Hey, don't go, stay on the path, don't go fucking
Hmm.
around." And they do anyways. And I thought that when we go back to do that scene, that it would have been like the gravekeeper in a mask who like pulled him to be like, "I fucking got you, kids. Like, go back to the path." But it turned out to be a zombie, and they just fucking ate his face off.
But meanwhile, as you mentioned, Mitch is trying to get his sleeves on in the car, and it's a little cramped there in the front seat. So he opens the door and is like hanging his legs out. And this is one of my favorite zombie kills of all time because like this dude fucking deserved it.
Uh huh.
And like you see the door open and his feet come out, you're like, yeah, they're
Yeah,
gonna
dude.
grab him by the feet and just fucking yank him right out of the car. He's fucking
Yep.
done. Second the door opens, he's fucking
He
done,
was like,
and it happens. It was
and it's
so gratifying.
it was. It's such a great payoff. Oh, it was fantastic. It was like, yeah, dude, that's what you fucking get. Um,
But even better when he walks back holding his head, which again I fucking hate, but it was funny.
but it was funny. It was pretty funny. So we've got our zombie kill. Lindsay gets in the car and I was like, oh shit, we gotta go. Or well, oh shit, I have to go because now she's the only one left alive. She fiddles around as they always do, where it's like, oh, how do I start a car all of a sudden? And then she fucking drives off, and she hightails it, and she ends up driving up near where the Sci-Fi Club kids are. Sci-Fi Club kids hop into the car. So now we've got group one, who are now off trying to fend off the zombies. Now on the flip side, we've got Jimmy, who is out delivering pizzas, and he runs into Kyle, and Gwen. So now we have group two, which is Jimmy, Kyle, and Gwen. And we learned that, Kyle has a gun on him because of course he does, which is also weird is that Kyle is like very Southern and they keep making jokes about him being like a Southern hick, but like
Yeah.
he's the only Southern dude in town. Like they live in fucking white suburbia and Kyle like wears cutoff plaid like shirts and like dirty jeans and talks with a thick accent like this. But like nobody else does. So
No.
it was
No.
very
So
weird.
I mean, baby's family moved a lot. Talks
Sure.
about his daddy being a cop.
Yeah, my
That sort
daddy's
of
a cop, but I hate my daddy. Same dude, same.
yeah. I mean, that's
So
fair.
that's fair. I'm not gonna lie. So so now they're group 2, and they're getting all together now. Also at the same time that this is happening, we have the Pinata Heads, which is the band who is fronted by Nash Rambler. They're in their garage getting high as balls and practicing. And the zombies come up to attack them, but they stop every time they play music. So they've learned that the zombies are subdued by punk rock. So,
Why not?
I mean, why not? And sure, like, sure, we'll just add that into the script. So,
Because like, like no one would actually be fucking paying attention to the band like at an actual show, but like, sure, zombies, like
zombies, right? Right. I mean, this is
rapt
texting
attention.
your phone while it's happening. So
That you know what? That's fair.
that's fair. Yeah, they're all just sitting in the back, nodding their head. Yeah, like, yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. And yeah, and what the advantage of this punk rock band is they're already underage. So when they go get the underage girls, it's not statutory rape. Sorry. I apologize to all our punk scene kids. Anyway, so they play their music, the zombies stop. Now we go back to group 1. So group 1 has, they've done their instances, they're escaping the zombies. They eventually get into this really big house and they're like, oh shit, okay, we're gonna hold up here for a little bit till we figure out what's going on. They get a call from Jimmy. Now Jimmy and Lindsay's group have now decided they're going to meet up. They're going to, connect to their groups and get them all together. And what we learn is that group 1, Lindsay's group, is actually in a funeral home.
That was actually pretty good.
Fuck.
I liked that twist.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And yeah, so they finally get out. Wait, did we miss the cemetery scene? We did. We have to talk about the cemetery scene.
I mean,
when they were escaping the cemetery, I have to say, I'm going to give Dance of the Dead credit here. Greg Bishop, who was the director. Also, I do want to point out that the writer of this film was Joe Ballerini, and Joe Ballerini was also the writer for A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting, which is a brand new film on Netflix, directed by Rachel Talalay. Rachel Talalay, she was the director of one fucking Tank Girl. Fucking Tank Girl, but she also directed a lot of Doctor Who episodes, including one of my favorite two, Heaven Sent and Hell Bent, were two of my favorite Doctor Who. This is Peter Capaldi era Doctor Who episodes, just fucking phenomenal episodes. But she also directed those and on a few other really, really great Doctor Who episodes and a lot of other really great things. Rachel Talalay. Very good movie, by the way, Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting. Very good. Definitely check it out, especially if you have kids. It was really great. My 8-year-old daughter fucking loved this movie. It was really cute, really good movie. And he also did the story for the My Little Pony movie. And some of the Scooby-Doo stuff. It was pretty cool. Anyways, he's done a lot of kids stuff. But so this was very funny. But so anyway, so kudos to Greg Bishop. So they're running through the cemetery, and I think this is just group 1 at this point. They're running to the cemetery, they're trying to get loose, and zombies are like exploding out of their coffins, and then they just fucking hit the ground running and chase after them. And it was really cool, actually. It was really fucking cool. I really loved the chaotic nature of it. I loved the explosions of the zombies. Like, it made everything seem like it was all happening right now. It wasn't, even though the zombies for the most part were slow-mo zombies, this scene was actually really cool because it made you feel like, oh fuck, like it was definitely like, oh fuck moment. So kudos to you guys on this. I really loved that scene.
The way that they just like explode up out of the ground and just immediately take off running,
So
and like
good.
they're popping up in the middle of the group of people that are running too. So like it just makes this like crowd larger and larger as they're like basically almost being like metaphorically consumed by it.
But not figuratively, because then the movie would be over. But yeah, you know, it was great scene when they jump out. Like, so like one of the scenes, they jumps out of the coffin and immediately goes to grab one. Like they're just like instantly in kill mode. Really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so now our groups are gonna connect. Our groups have connected, and they're like, oh shit, all right, we got to figure out what's going on. And they eventually run into the crazy gun Horden gym coach.
Can we briefly talk about how they walked through the sewer,
Oh
which is
yeah,
very much just like a warehouse basement or something like that,
yeah.
and somehow the sewer that is dripping with like obviously like radioactive goo that
Slime. It's a
they,
river
they
of slime.
yeah, that they rightly surmise is probably related to the zombie apocalypse that is going on around them.
For sure.
Somehow, not only does that not affect them at all, like
Yeah.
they're obviously going to be exposed to it, if only in the air. But I mean, they're not going to get through this without touching it in some way. It doesn't affect them at all, and also somehow this sewer, again in quotes, has a door that just opens right into the funeral home where their friends are staying. They
It's
just
very
walk right,
fucking convenient. Yeah.
just like right in. It's like it basically is the back door of the building. If they don't even go upstairs,
Right.
they just open the door and like they're in the house. And like up until this point, we're supposed to believe that it's someone's house,
Right.
which a lot of funeral homes, including this one, just look like a house. They are just a house.
I mean, I watch My Girl. They are a house. Too soon?
And this is from the, oh yeah. No, no. I mean that
No,
movie was
it's
like 30 years ago.
yeah, it's fine. It's not too soon actually. Yeah, so now, you know, they're out and about. They run into you know, gym coach who takes them back to his house. He has a horde of weapons and a Confederate flag. You know, and like you do.
Like you do.
Like you do. And so now they're all armed. They've got their you know, knives and what have yous, and we see that the coach has a bunch of C4. They're like, oh shit, like they're heading to the high school. They're heading to the prom. Like it's gonna be a fucking, you know, smorgasbord. Like we need to go stop this. We need to go do what we need to do. So they're like, all right, we're gonna rescue whoever we can. Then we're blowing up the high school. Plan. So they go, and you know, things happen. They get to the high school, you know, prom's happening, and now as they get in, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
They see a gymnasium full of brombies.
Brilliant. Brumbies. Oh man. So we have a gymnasium full of brombies, and they're like, all right, here we go. So they decide, you know, they're off, they're going and they're setting up all their things. They're gonna blow up the prom, and of course, fucking gym coach guy drops the remote, and now it's up to Jimmy to go, you know, he's like, it's up to you, Jimmy, you have to go kill yourself and get this remote. But like, motherfucker, you go do it. like I'm a young kid, you're gonna send me, like, you go do it.
Oh, he said that he would, but he still has another charge to set. So
Oh, right.
I just you know I got this thing I got to do, and it's
You
like,
know,
I mean I totally would, but like you're right there, and like for me like it would be like a, you know, a 20-minute drive across town, and like
I mean,
you know, it's kind of late.
and you know, it's yeah. So Jimmy, of course, is like, all right, I'm gonna I gotta go in there, I gotta get the remote. And Lindsay's like, I'll go with you. Wherever you go, I go. And, oh, Jimmy. And so, of course, they head off and, they're in there. And the scene that I expected to happen, of course, does happen. Oh, by the way, they do run into the band. By the way, they get the band. The
Man
gym
fucking
coach
saves the day.
saves the day. And the band, of course, recognizes what's going on. So they hop up on stage and play a really shitty slow song.
Yeah,
Like,
well, they play their one song that they know, but they just slow it down to like a slow dance song. And Nash Rambler, stick to the fast jams.
oh yeah, dude. Yeah, the ballads are not for you, my dude.
That's
They're not for you. Oof.
You think your bag of tricks is this big, when really it's this big.
Yeah, it's really like a sandwich bag of tricks. So it is what it is. So they play their song. Jimmy then is able to find the remote. Meanwhile, Steven and Gwen, they have a moment, and Gwen's like, Steven, I need you. I need you to come with me right now. And Steven's like, bitch, we're about to blow up the school. Like, can this not wait like 5 seconds? She's like, no, right now. So of course, Steven's like, yo, I'm about to get some, son. So he heads to the bathroom with Gwen. Gwen then shows him her arm, and she's been bitten. This is it. So we all know now Gwen is the person in the group that is going to hide the zombie bite. So fuck Gwen.
I mean, because they rescued a bunch of other folks, including the prom queen and a couple of dudes who both had the same buzz cut. And
randomly.
yeah, they kind of looked like they would have been the Crab and Goyle of this movie.
This is Crab. This is Goyle. And I'm Malfoy.
And then some hell breaks loose and some zombies attack from various rooms, and they fight them off successfully, but you see her in the end holding her arm. I'm like, there it is.
There it is.
There's the one.
Oh yeah, and at this moment too, fucking Lucas Till dies. So Lucas Till ends up, they end up like trying to run away, and Lucas Till gets snagged and torn apart. So there they are. There's Steven and Gwen in the bathroom, and she's like, don't tell them, they'll kill me. And he's like, I won't. So he's hugging her, and then they begin to kiss. And oh man, this is it.
Fucking best.
She
close
bites
up of her eyes, and she her eyes turn, and while they're going at it, she just rips his tongue right out of his mouth.
out, and then slurps it up and swallows it, and he's like, whoa.
So gross.
Oh, it was terrible. But then we get our love story ending, our Hollywood ending, as Anna the Apocalypse went to. The Hollywood ending. The Sydney Disney. So anyway, great movie, man. Go back and watch that movie. It was so fucking good. I can't wait to watch that for Christmas time.
Oh my God, yeah.
Fucking pumped to be like,
it's happening.
To show my girlfriend that we're watching this. It's gonna be great. Anyway, so now Steven wakes up.
Already rethinking her decision to move in with you.
Yeah, she'll be like in the midst of packing, being like, I fucking can't believe I did this. Why do I do this? So Steven awakes as a zombie, and we have Gwen zombie and Steven zombie, and they stare at each other, and now they're in zombie love. Isn't it adorable? They're about to be blown the fuck up. But
well, they also just tear each other to shreds.
Yeah.
It's fucking gross.
They're just going at each other. So everybody makes it out. Well, not everybody, but the people make it out alive. So at this point, it is 2 of 3 of the science club. It's Jimmy, it's Lindsay, it's the coach, and 2 of the band members, and then a few of the random extras that they dragged along. And so this is it. They've made it out. They blow up the school. The school blows the fuck up. And, the gym coach is like, all right, get in the bus, kids. Like, we're out of here. And he's like, all right, kids, we're going to go, and we're going to, fucking blow the fuck up out of this nuclear power plant, which, first off, terrible plan.
Oh, yeah. Very bad idea.
Terrible plan. But he says, well, I want some pancakes, though. So we're going to go over to Jimmy's Pancake Shack or whatever, and we're going to...
Coach wants some pancakes.
Coach
we're
wants some pancakes.
Coke wants I think he wants some pancake house. So pancakes and juice on Coach.
So they're gonna go and have breakfast and concoct their plan to blow up the or to just stop the nuclear power plant. And as they pull away in the background, we see our gravedigger. He was like, ah, fuck. And then so here he goes off to clean up the mess from the prom bee.
Yeah. Like I want to know more about this great.
I
bigger
want to know.
story.
I need to know more about him because he makes a really great line earlier. Someone was like, "Why don't you tell someone about this?" He's like, "You kidding me? I'm just trying to keep my job." Which is just fantastic.
I do think that not enough people are enthused about pancakes. Like you figure like
Agreed.
this night would have taken a lot out of people, and like nobody really had time to like stop and eat anything,
Yeah, or like
and
go to
like
the bathroom, have a drink of water. Like,
yeah, like like go replenish.
yeah,
Like you know you deserve you've earned it.
you fucking earned it. Hell yeah.
We did miss one of my favorite like throwaway one-liners in the movie because there's a bunch of them.
There are a lot of them.
When the coach is arming everyone and refuses to give them guns because the guns belong to coach,
Right.
coach only, and like he's handing out melee weapons and like sledgehammers and shovels and stuff like that, and he calls to Gwen, little lady, you get the machete, but I don't know how to shoot a machete.
Oh God. That's pretty spectacular. Yeah, so Dance of the Dead. So should you watch this movie? It wasn't bad. It had some moments. It had some moments that were kind of fun. So I mean, like, yeah, if you're into zombie movies, if you like, high school films or whatever, totally. I think you should watch it. It is streaming for free on Tubi TV. Caleb, what do you
That's
think?
true.
Did they watch this movie?
That's more than we can say about the movie we were supposed to watch today.
It's true. Joan Cusack, Freaks of Nature.
Yes. You know what? Sure. I mean, it like there's an increasing glut of these just like terrible low budget zombie movies, and I love them. They're awful, and I love them.
I mean,
And
yeah.
this one, 2008, it would have been riding hot on the heels of Shaun of the Dead's success. So like you can tell the kinds of stuff that they were going for. They nowhere near the caliber because I mean like what they were
I mean,
comparing
that
against.
wasn't.
But yeah, I mean if you've got an hour and a half to spare and want a goopy zombie movie, sure.
Cool. So there you have it. Dance of the Dead, available streaming for free, tubitv.com. Check it out. This movie is about an hour and a half long. So it's worth it if you want a fun little zombie flick to giggle about. As we mentioned, there's a lot of very silly special effects of the heads coming off and talking and the person getting chopped in half and the legs running away. Think like zombie co-ed but less boobs and drugs. Not by much, but less drugs. But yeah, so there you have it. So next week is the one right before my birthday, and we are watching. This one's gonna be insane. So this is a movie called The Fuzz, which is very confusing because on IMDb, The Fuzz is actually listed as a TV series. Starring Rachel Bloom, who is the main actress. She was in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but this is actually a movie. It's actually a movie. So this is going to be really interesting. But basically, The Fuzz is a world where humans and Muppets exist in the same world. So the best way is this movie actually happened before the Happy Time Murders, and it's a very similar plot. So I'm very curious to see. Did Happy Time Murders rip off this movie? I think they might have. I think that might be a thing that we'll have to look into. But so next week, Happy Time Murders, The Fuzz. So check it out. So next week, The Fuzz. And then after that, we're going to round it out with Jabberwocky, which is a really great Terry Gilliam film. A potentially great Terry Gilliam film. So I'm excited.
We have, there is one more because remember, you got
right.
5.
Yeah, no. So next week is actually, next week is still The Fuzz, but the one after that is something 2021.
Escape 2120.
Escape 2120.
I'm still bitter that it wasn't like a 2112 like Rush reference.
No, but it is a kind of a cool time travel film. So I am actually excited about this one. So there you have it, folks. Thanks a lot for joining us on this episode. We super appreciate it. And if you are so inclined, check us out on social media. It's the Nahoit Podcast, the NHOIT Podcast on both Twitter and Instagram. You'll see clips from past episodes, current episodes, news and stuff like that, of all the things. So that's it. We will see you next week. Goodbye.